The Game Boy Advance released on June 11th of 2001. Man, I love this little thing. The problem is, I have like 2 games for it, so I need to find a way to nearly double my Game Boy Advance collection in size. How do I do that? Just buy a bunch of old crap. The Game Boy Advance was an extremely popular handheld. So many games were developed and published for the system, especially licensed games. I didn't know this was a thing. Why are there so many Yu-Gi-Oh games? What even is a Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh. Now, Nintendo's first-party support on the handheld was pretty lacking. It was surprising how little new games they actually published. Instead, we just got Super Mario Bros. For the 15th time. Instead, Nintendo was mostly re-releasing NES and Super Nintendo games. A good example is with the Mario Advance series. These were just Mario games that were slightly altered to be playable on the handheld. They made Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and Yoshi's Island. Along with that, they were just re-releasing a ton of other games, like Donkey Kong Country. They had a nice system going on for a while, remake the NES games and re-release the Super Nintendo ones. But then everything changed when the e-reader came out. It did? I was pretty confused at first when I read it came out in 2002, because that was before the Game Boy Advance came out. I thought that wasn't right, so I googled it again, and for some reason, the default result for when the Game Boy Advance released is the Game Boy Advance SP release date. I hate the internet. Come on, Luigi released before 2012. However, the e-reader did release close to the Game Boy Advance's launch window, which I thought was odd. But now I understand why it failed. You see, the e-reader was an accessory where you could scan a card and it would have in-game functionality. The problem is, like 3 games supported it. These cards are called the Classic NES Series, although they're normally just referred to as e-reader cards. And when you scan them, you can play NES games. These are all the games that were supported. Honestly, it's not bad. Let me play Clu Clu Land in peace. But what if you don't want to scan a bunch of cards to play games that are rotting in your grandma's coffin? Or you just don't want to eat this piece of junk? Well, I have a solution for you. The Classic NES Series. Yes, they are called the exact same thing. I looked it up. So, in North America, we got pretty standard NES games. I mean, we got Mario Bros. Wait, they do?!
So, this is a Xevious pharmacy.
Yeah, what about it?
Do you need medical attention?
Maybe. Over in Japan, they got way more games than we did. These titles went under a different name, the Famicom Mini-Series. The games that Japan got were way better than what we Minnesotans got here. But I find some game choices that didn't come over odd. Like, why did Wrecking Crew not translate over? Why not Balloon Fight, Kid Icarus, Mario Bros? Actually, I think I know why they didn't do this one. But Clu Clu Land! How dare you? Back in North America, the Classic NES Series was released on June 2nd of 2004. And later, on October 24th, we got the final 4 games. Did you really need to make me wait for Dr. Mario? The series actually got quite a bit of third-party games to be released, except here in North America, because we can't spell. Okay, so there's a hyphen here. No? How is there not? Oh, there's a Q? The reception of the lineup was mixed. People did not like the choices for NES games. At the time, Zelda 2 was considered the worst game in the Zelda series, so re-releasing it didn't make much sense. Super Mario Bros. Had some issues with the graphics, Bomberman didn't have any multiplayer, Metroid was a seemingly pointless addition because it was already an unlockable mode in Metroid Zero Mission, and was playable in Metroid Prime. A few of the games were also already e-reader cards. Yeah, we're back to this thing. Donkey Kong, Excitebike, Ice Climber, Balloon Fight, Clu Clu Land, and Mario Bros. Were all criticized for already existing as e-reader cards. Plus, the e-reader cards were only $5, and for the Classic NES series, each game was charged at $20. This is pretty low for a Game Boy Advance game. I believe the average is around $30 to $40, but considering these games were already released way cheaper, maybe just pick different games. Except Clu Clu Land, that's an exception. I will never not stop talking about Clu Clu Land.
It doesn't fit?
I also noticed that Excitebike was re-released as a bonus mode in Excitebike 64, but I'm not sure if this was a problem because I think everyone forgot about that game. Heck, I think I forgot about that game.
What the heck is this?
So now let's play every NES classic game, starting with Xevious. How could we not start with Super Mario Bros? Interestingly enough, this game has the most to talk about. So what do each of these games have in common? Well, they've all been formatted to a different resolution. The original NES games were in 4:3, but these games are in 3:2. They had a few choices for changing the resolution. They could A, rewrite the code of the game to fit more stuff on screen so it looks more natural, or B, just zoom in and don't make any changes. Or if you really wanted to... That'll work. Surprisingly, Super Mario Bros. Did none of these. So what the heck did they do? So here's my visualization of what they did. They put all the sprites on a grid, put some red lines across the sprites, removed the red lines, and squished them together. This looks really funny. I mean, this looks bad. But that's what makes it funny. Like, these other games are honestly just the NES games, but on Game Boy Advance. Ooh, spot the difference. But because they moved some layers of sprites, they had to work around it by shifting the sprites down every few seconds. This just looks bad. It's very noticeable with the text. Like, just look at that.
Now I'm being a little harsh here. The game's pretty good if you're blind. What the heck? I died?
The blocks in the game look pretty normal. The backgrounds have seen better days. Like, this is putrid. But the main star of the show here are the characters. Oh, look at his neck. Now he's big. Mario's mustache covers his entire face. Oh my God. Most of the enemies look normal. Maybe a little weird sometimes, but nothing too major. The controls... they aren't good. See, jumping is an important part of Super Mario Bros. You have to make precise jumps at the right time to win. But if you jump while holding the run button when you weren't running before, you just pick up speed when you land and start going at Mach 10. This makes jumping so much more painful because I constantly have to slow down or keep running and recalculate if it would mess me up or not. Or I just die. That's enough of Super Mario Bros. For now. On to the next game, The Legend of Zelda. On the Nintendo Switch Online program, I always saw The Legend of Zelda and thought, neat. I never played it. I just think the game is a bit hard to go back to. Sure, I have a lot of respect for it, but it's not the greatest to dig from the coffin. What I didn't realize at first was that the original Zelda game was one of the first NES games to have a save feature. After I learned that, I looked up a guide and researched the strategies I needed to utilize in order to beat the game, and when I played the game on Game Boy Advance, I was fully immersed in the world, and I had an amazing time adventuring.
But the game lags a little bit when there are too many items on screen, so this game actually sucks.
The next game I have is Excitebike. Now this is a side-by-side comparison of the NES and Game Boy Advance game. But what about Excitebike 64?
What about it?
Like I said before, in the bonus game modes, there's a fully playable version of Excitebike. Oh man, I can't wait to see the difference.
Ooh, okay, I got this one. Okay. This one has 64 in it.
I noticed when I was done playing the game that it had the exact same issue that Super Mario Bros. Does. The graphics are crunched to fit on screen, and it alternates between sprites to look better for it to only look worse. The effect is more noticeable than Super Mario Bros. Because there's a lot more text in this game, but when playing the actual game, I didn't notice it at all. The gameplay is so fast that this issue just didn't occur to me. It's also worth noting that the Excitebiker sprite isn't as iconic as the Super Mario Bros. Ones, or if there was something off, you could immediately tell.
That's not Mario, this is a scam!
Alright, next game. Donkey Kong. This is a very faithful recreation to the original Donkey Kong.
I have nothing else to say.
What else can I say? It's Donkey Kong. Now, Bomberman, on the other hand, Woo! I mean, it's not Donkey Kong. This is the first game we'll talk about that was licensed to Nintendo, because the actual owner of the game was Hudson Soft. They aren't the owners anymore because Konami killed them. I have never played the original Bomberman before this, and now... What the heck is this? This game is hard! So first, I have to bomb every block and find one that has the exit. Then, I have to kill all the enemies, which are constantly moving. Then, I have to place a bomb down, which only goes one block of distance and is unreliable because the enemies just move out of the way before it hits them, or it should have hit them, but they ignore it and don't die anyway. Then, if you place the bomb in the middle of two squares, congratulations, you just screwed yourself, because most of the time, you'll end up placing the bomb behind you, and if you're by a wall, you get blown up. Then when you die, you have to restart the area all over again, but the levels are procedurally generated, meaning it's a different level each time, and if you game over, you start all the way back at level 1! I made it to stage 2. I'm never playing this game again. Get this game out of my sights! Let's play Ice Climber instead. So this is Ice Climber.
No way!
I'll go over something quickly. I don't think the controls are as good. Here's my example. The bonus stages. At the end of each mountain you climb, there's a bonus stage, and if you get to the top, you win the bonus. When I tried to climb up, I felt myself often jumping and not having enough speed. This is one thing, but I also fell through the platforms and walked off to lose my bonus. This happens all the time. When I jump, I travel absolutely nowhere, and I don't think the NES version had this problem. Or if it did, I don't think it's as noticeable. Or I'm just a giant idiot who doesn't... Okay, I'm done with this. Alright, next game, Pac-Man. The game uses the NES version of Pac-Man, which is fine. I'd be surprised if it didn't. It's the classic NES series, after all. You know, speaking of which, I don't think the NES version of the game is that bad. Sure, the one in the arcades is better, but that doesn't make this the bane of my existence.
And that is NES Pac-Man. Pretty good. Pretty faithful to the original, as it should be. The only problem is, it doesn't attach to Wii Motion Plus, so I'm gonna have to rank it as 0 out of 10. I'm sorry, you should have just made a better game.
Alright, next up, Xevious. Now, I understand if most of you ask this question.
What the heck is Xevious?
Xevious is a vertical shooter that first released in arcades in 1982. The game is owned by Namco, you know, the same people that made this.
Oh, I know this one. Yeah, Pizza Slice? No, okay, Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. That has... No, are you... Oh, wait, that's the game that doesn't attach to Wii Motion Plus!
The game was absolutely praised in Japan. It was a tremendous success and was a huge inspiration for other vertical shooters, like Twinbee. Here in North America, the game wasn't as successful. So, in the game, you have your main laser attack to hit ships that fly in the air, and you bomb bases and tanks beneath you. So... here's my question. If the game was a giant success in Japan and is one of the most influential games of all time over there, then why did we get it here? Seriously, why didn't we get Clu Clu Land, but instead we got Xevious, a game that was not popular over here? Now let's get into the 4 games that released on October 24th, starting with Metroid. The game has similar sprite flickering problems to Super Mario Bros., but it's even less noticeable than Excitebike because it's only on the title screen, and the text isn't affected. It literally only happens with this piece of ground. The game lags a little bit when I do very simple things. Like, for some reason, when I jump, the game just stutters. Also, whenever I save the game, the screen shifts a bit. It's not Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong!
Moving on to Dr. Mario. Okay, I have a confession to make. I'm an idiot. For some reason, I suck at this game. I don't understand. I love puzzle games. So what's up with this one? Maybe because it goes from baby mode to... At least you can cheat and play the last stage. Good luck on beating it. Alright, next up. Castlevania. For some reason, I thought this was a new title screen. It just seemed off that they would put the licensed by Nintendo portion on it, so I looked it up, and... it's the exact same thing! That makes this lazier. This game is the last third-party game that Nintendo licensed for the classic NES series lineup. So in total, we got 3 games. We got robbed of third-party inclusions. I blame Namco. We could have gotten great games, but instead they just give us Pac-Man again. People didn't like that. Why didn't we get Mappy or Dig Dug? I mean, Dig Dug was re-released that many times, but Pac-Man gets included because it's Pac-Man, even though people are tired of seeing him everywhere. The third-party games could have been better, just like Bomberman. This game is difficult. It's definitely a bit hard to go back to, but it's more forgiving than Bomberman, so that's something. Each castle you beat is a save state, so at least you start at the castle I'm really trying here. Finally, we're at the last game. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Notice how it says Link in the title. That's how you know it's a Zelda game. This game is an RPG, meaning you have to level up Link so he gets stronger. Honestly, I was having a great time at first. I was killing enemies, leveling up, having a good time. Then I went to the first dungeon and I was just powering through it, getting levels, getting keys, doing great. Then I reached this part, and I don't think I should have because I got destroyed. Yeah, so I kinda just died. It was fine though, because after I played the first Legend of Zelda, I knew it would save my progress. Nope! You just start back at the beginning. Sure, your levels you gained are saved, but if you were gaining points to reach the next level and you accidentally die, you lose all your levels. That sucks! That completely ruins the purpose of leveling up. If you have to get 1,000 levels and you get 700 and die, you don't feel like you accomplished anything, you just feel like an idiot. Zelda 2 is going in with Zelda 1.
So that was the Classic NES Series. That was awful. It's not bad, it's just disappointing. They didn't change any of the games, even if they needed changes. Like, come on, Nintendo. Golf is spelled with a K. We all know it. Stop lying to us!
The sad thing is, these games will never be the definitive versions. Not only are they played on this tiny thing, but they are formatted to a different screen size, which for most of the games leads to more problems. The most disappointing thing for me is that they didn't fix any of the original game's problems. They're just ports of the games, and the sales show. For the entire series, across the whole world, it only sold 6.63 million copies. Now, 6 million copies is a lot of money towards Nintendo. That should be seen as a success, but not for the gaming industry. Oh, and the cartridges are gray. I don't know how I went so long without saying this. You see, the standard Game Boy Advance game is colored just like the black Game Boy Advance. Black. But the classic NES series cartridges are colored gray, like an NES cartridge. Weirdly enough, this reminds me the most of Personal Trainer Walking. The cartridge is darker than a normal DS cartridge because they had to put a Bluetooth sensor inside of it. This is mainly because the DS didn't have Bluetooth, and it needed to connect to the pedometers to track your steps. Now, I would show you how this works, but unfortunately...
Sure, this is certainly a neat part of Nintendo's history, but it's not that great to look back on today. Oh shoot, I've been talking too much about the Classic NES series that I completely forgot about my date! Oh, I gotta go now! Oh, I am so sorry that I'm late. I had to deal with a lot of business stuff. Anyways, where were we? Hey. That's hilarious! How did...
So, lovely weather we're having today.
Shoot! The Classic NES Xevious, am I right?
That's it. I'm done.
No, please, Patricia, don't go, please. I just like talking about Clu Clu Land, okay? It's not a disease, I swear! Hey, thank you so much for watching. As you just saw, I got dumped by my girlfriend. So I'd appreciate it if you give me a like, subscribe, literally do anything nice to me, because I'm pretty sure that after this, I'm going into a spiraling depression.